Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy Sandler, and you're looking at Nick Kreticos. And Nick is going to do a fun live with some Christmas and a rose gold wreath. And Alex, his sister, is behind the camera. So I just want to say I'll be here too, so you'll probably hear my voice throughout. But I'm going to let Nick just take the show.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Nick Kreticos of Nick's Seasonal Decor. And it's full steam ahead for Christmas, you guys. So I'm going to teach you a bunch of Christmas techniques tonight to gear you up for the holiday season. So I hope everybody had a great weekend. We certainly did. It's nice and cool here, you guys. So most of you guys know by now we live in Massachusetts, and the leaves, I feel like they've changed over the last couple of weeks. It's kind of early this year, so the leaves are changing. It's getting nice and cool, finally, because we've had a really hot summer. But we're going to be using our Bowdabras here. We have the mini Bowdabra, the large Bowdabra. That's what they look like side by side, as well as our gold wire. So you can find all of the supplies, including your Bowdabra's wires and ribbon from nicksseasonaldecor.com. And we're going to start tonight with our large Bowdabra. So each Bowdabra, when you order, does come with a Bowdabra wand, which is this tool right here. And I like to keep it in my Bowdabra so I don't lose it. I feel like this is such an easy thing to lose. What do you think, Alex?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
this would disappear. So I just keep it inside, but it's used to compress your ribbons and kind of squish them down so it's easier to tie up. So we're going to just remove that for the sake of the video.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, you guys. And don't forget, if you're catching the replay, be sure to say hi. You know, one thing that I've noticed on my personal lives on my business page is that we have such an incredible replay rate. I know we all get busy and I know we all are in different time zones, but the fact that so many of you guys come back and watch my videos from the future really does mean a lot. So I'm here to teach you guys and make your bow experience a lot easier and a lot less stressful. So I just cut a length of wire. It's about 14 inches on either side, so about a 28-inch piece of wire. All I've done is I've just folded that in half, and then I'm going to place that right in the slit on the top of the Bowdabra.
You have
And then
Carol and Debbie both saying hi on YouTube.
welcome, you guys. Nice to see you. I see Rose is here, Lisa's here, Shirley, Danae, lots of Wreath community members. So welcome, you guys. We're going to just take those wires and tuck them underneath. I use my Bowdabra a little bit differently in that I rotate my Bowdabra instead of rotating my hands and my ribbons. I find it to be easiest. And for those of you that have a Bowdabra, let me know. Have you tried that technique yet? Is it easier for you? Is it more complicated for you? With any tool that you have, you're going to have to figure out what works best for your hands. So we're going to use our new snowflake ribbon. I love navy blue, and it seems to be a really popular color this year, and I think Alex can agree with that.
Yes.
We can hardly keep navy blue in stock, and I just love creating with it to the point where it's like twice a week at least. So we're going to create a bunch of awareness ribbons. I just cut a length of ribbon. We're going to pinch about 3.5 inches down, and we're going to take our two tails and already have them separated before we work them into the Bowdabra. Hey, Pat. We're going to do that a bunch of times. The more loops and tails we have, the more full our bow is going to be. So it really does just depend on the look you're trying to get and how full and the season. There's so many different variables. So whatever your heart desires, I typically, for this bow technique, recommend anywhere from 3 to 5 loops for the best effect. And we're going to just take this ribbon, and you can also have it pre-cut. So if it's easier for you to pre-cut it, you can have a bunch of pieces already cut, and then you can just work them right into your Bowdabra.
Connie says rotating is difficult for her, and I is more complicated. And I agree with you, Connie. I can't rotate.
Yeah, so there's so many different methods and so many different ways of using your Bowdabra that you're going to have to, figure out what works best for you. So what I always recommend is trial and error. Seeing what works best for you is obviously the best approach, and it makes it a lot easier when you figure that out. So that seems to be the hardest part, and then after that, it's just going to click for you. So again, awareness ribbon. Another thing that I forgot to mention is I'm reversing each side. So I came in with my first loop on your left-hand side, next loop on the right, and so on and so forth. The reason we do that is to save the fluffing process down the road. So when it comes time to fluff it, all of the loops are already arranged where we want them, and it's going to be a breeze to separate them. Thank you guys so much for the shares. As you come in, don't forget Bowdabra is giving away a free roll of scrunchy ribbon tonight, and all you have to do is just let us know that you're here and where you're watching from. So we are here live in my studio in Massachusetts, but I'm curious to know where everybody else is from. So here is
Debbie
another
said
loop.
that Debbie asked if you're not twisting the ribbon. Nick's actually twisting the bottom tail.
Yeah, so let's do a close-up. I'm just taking the piece of ribbon, just pinching it, right? Just pinching it in the middle. And all I'm doing is I'm just separating them. So just separating them, and then we're coming back in and placing it into the Bowdabra. Hey, Risa. Risa says she's getting ready for date night. Pat's a Wreath community member. Risa is, you guys are the best. So they were actually watching me for like an hour and a half tonight, hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So the more loops you have, the more full your bow is going to be. And it really, again, like I said, depends on what look you're going for. For winter and Christmas, I prefer my bows to look a little bit heavier. With it being a colder season, I kind of like them to be a little bit bulkier as well. So I typically work in more loops. So we have 1, 2, 3 on this side, and then we have 3 on the other side. All we're gonna do now is take our wires from underneath, right? So since we folded it in half, you're gonna have a cut end and a loop. We're gonna pull it to the middle. We're gonna feed that cut end through the loop and pull it tight. Now what we're gonna do is take that wire, pull it tight, and flip it over. So we're gonna tie it from behind. Thank you guys for the shares. I see over 60 of you guys watching. Thank you all so much for being here. Hey, Patsy. Patsy's watching from South Carolina. We have Max here, who I'll be seeing in a little bit as well.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, you guys. So now we're going to dovetail. So if you're new here, to dovetail, you're going to take your tail, fold it in half, and cut from the middle out towards the wired edge at an angle. And that looks a lot better than those. So make sure you do that to all of your ribbons. You can also just cut at an angle, but I think for this technique, it always looks best when you dovetail them. And another thing I
Kathy
forgot to
says
mention.
she's never seen this type of bow made, and she thinks she could do it. Kathy, Nick, we call
You
this
can do
one
it.
the funky bow.
Yes, you absolutely can do it. This is one of the easiest bows. And the coolest thing about this bow, in my opinion, is that you can use your scrap ribbon. So if you only have a yard or even like 2 feet of a ribbon, if it matches another ribbon, you can throw it into a bow and just use a piece or two in this technique. So one of the easiest too, because we're not making it perfect. Actually, the more imperfect you can make it, the better the bow turns out. So what I mean by that is that, let me show you. Let me just gather up our tails, the pieces we cut off. This piece is longer, this piece is shorter. Having them all different lengths just adds visual interest. So all we're gonna do now is separate each of those tails. And if there's ever any that are too long or look kind of out of place, you can always trim them up. But it's a lot easier to remove a little bit than it is to add. So always cut it off in small increments until you like the way it's looking before making that big decision, doing a big cut. Let's fluff it out. Almost 80 of you guys, thank you for sharing. This one's a little long for me, so all we're gonna do is just snip that off a little bit. And how pretty is this bow?
I love it. And the shimmer on this ribbon is so pretty, you guys.
Right?
I don't know if you can tell on camera, but those snowflakes are so cute.
Okay. And I think this would work for Hanukkah as well. All right, bow number 1 done. Show some hearts if you guys love this. And at this point in time, I do want to remind you that both Bowdabra and Nick's Seasonal Decor have free crafting groups. So you can join Bowdabra's at Bowdabra Fan Gallery here on Facebook. And then you can join ours at Nick's, what is it? Nick's Crafting Community. So both groups are great resources for added inspiration. And with the holidays right around the corner, I say right around the corner, but 3 months is not much time at all. I mean, this summer flew by,
Goes
and
by
Christmas
quick.
is going to be here before we know it. So look at that bow. What do you guys think? Isn't that pretty?
So pretty.
And this would be the perfect bow for a present. You can just add a little glue dot or some hot glue on the back. I typically just add a little dollop of hot glue, stick it to the wrapping paper, and it's good to go. And they can actually remove it and save it for years to come. So let's make another bow. We're going to continue with our large Bowdabra, and now we're going to use a 4-inch ribbon. So I don't use 4-inch a whole lot, but this one I think is too pretty not to show you guys how to use. So I want everybody to take a second and let me know what your favorite width of ribbon is. So ribbons come in all different widths. The ones we carry, 7/8, even 5/8, right? 7/8, 1.5 inch, 2.5 inch, and 4-inch are the most standard size. And here's that 4-inch. Isn't that stunning?
So pretty.
So we can do a couple of different versions of this. I'm thinking, should we try a big traditional bow with this?
Yeah.
I mean, it could honestly be a tree topper. And I guess a tree topper really just depends on how big your tree is. Because if you have a little tabletop tree, you're not going to want something that's absolutely massive, right? So we're going to start with our tails. like that. We've already placed our wire into the Bowdabra. Just fold them in half. We're going to pinch and place them into the Bowdabra. Like that. So now we have our tails in place, and I guess I'm going to show you guys how to work in your ribbons without twisting your Bowdabra, right? So I prefer that. It seems to work the best for me. I find it the easiest, but we're going to break the rules, right? So I'm going to try something different for you guys and work it in. This is going to be more challenging for me than anything. Truthfully, you guys, I can do anything, but this is not my go-to method. But all we're going to do is come back in with our loop. Let's do loops about 4.5 inches. We're going to just pinch it and reverse it. And you can even see the way I'm holding it is kind of awkward. But if I can do it, you can do it. And that goes for all of you guys. So if you say, I can't make a bow, well, here I am doing it in a completely different way than what I usually do. And it's still going to turn out pretty. All right, let's see if we can get to 100 live viewers. Pat said 7/8 inch and 1.5 inch are her favorites. Max said 7.5 or 7/8 and 1.5 are her favorites. I don't know. I just love it.
I like those two. I love 7/8, but I do love 1.5 inch.
And I think, you know what I think, Alex? I think they're just saying that because they're Wreath community members.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get some brownie points for that. Hey, Sharon. All right, we're going to continue with lots and lots of loops. Well, with 4-inch too, you guys. So I tell you guys, the more loops you have, the more full your bow is going to be. But there's actually another hidden trick about that, and it's the width, right? So this being 4-inch ribbon, just the ribbon alone is already making such an impact for its width that you can actually do less loops. You could do 3 to 5 loops. You could do 2 to 3 loops, and get a lot more coverage than, let's say, a 5/8 or a 7/8 inch ribbon would. So this is going to be our third loop on either side now. Okay, there's the third loop, and I think we can do 4 loops on either side, and that'll give us kind of what we're looking for. Almost 100 of you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we will be live next Monday, which will finish off September. Isn't that just unbelievable?
Crazy.
And I do want to take a second and wish Alex a belated happy birthday. Not because I forgot her birthday, but Alex's birthday was the other day. So let's all take a second and wish Alex a happy belated birthday. Here on Bowdabra,
Happy
you guys,
birthday, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So we got some cider donuts, which was crazy because it was like already all pumpkins and apples and stuff. And I feel like it's just crazy how fast fall approaches here in New England. So I did 1 extra loop, 5 on one side, 4 on the other. The only reason I did that is because I forgot how many loops I worked in, and it's going to turn out just as beautiful. So don't get too caught up in making sure that you have even numbers because you don't have to. Now we're going to take out our wire from underneath our Bowdabra. 102 of you guys, 103. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We're using a 4-inch ribbon tonight, so this is a special treat. And I honestly think that this would work as a tree topper. I would put this on a 3-foot tree, of course, with longer tails. But this bow is definitely appropriate. We don't want a tree topper to be absolutely massive. At least I don't. So we're going to just tie that from behind. Everybody's wishing Alex a happy birthday.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, it was such a fun birthday weekend.
And then we had some wine and some more cider donuts.
We love cider donuts. They're so good when they're fresh and warm.
I know. Everybody was apple picking and all of that stuff. That's not me and Alex's thing. We don't need to apple pick. We'll eat the apples, but we don't need to go out and pick all the apples or the hay rides and stuff. Which is funny because most people love that, but you know, I'd say I like it more than Alex does. Alex is not a fan. But how pretty is that bow, you guys? And let me hold it up. How pretty is that?
That's gorgeous.
And the more you fluff it, the better it's going to look. But I think that looks pretty darn good as is. Right?
That makes a great tree topper bow.
It does. This exact technique, you guys, that we do for the smaller bows using the mini Bowdabra for the large Bowdabra, it's the same technique for big tree toppers. You're just doing it on a bigger scale. So I'm going to show you guys how to dovetail 4-inch ribbon now. You're going to just take that, fold it in half, and cut from the middle out towards the wired edge at an angle. Same process, nothing different. All right, so look at how ugly that is versus that. You can also cut it at an angle, but I think with this dramatic ribbon, it's much prettier having the dovetails. Okay, so that is bow number 2. What do you guys think of that? So show some hearts. 110 of you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So that's the second bow.
So pretty.
All right, so I
Floratopia
think,
says she has trouble, she still has trouble with the fluffing. And I think the real trick with fluffing is pulling your bows in different directions with your fingers in the loops.
yeah, it's it's also to just consistently doing it, right? So just fluffing one loop, you guys see me come back and reposition, refluff, and it's never ending. So what I recommend too is just continuing to fluff. If it looks off, eventually the more you fluff it, the better it's going to look. Wired ribbon holds its shape, and the way I like my bows to be fluffed out is so they look as organic as possible. Wired ribbon obviously is an advantage, but also a disadvantage because let me show you real quick. Here's the first bow we made. We never want our ribbons to look crimped like that. So I always run my fingers through them. It's okay if they're a little bit wavy. Sometimes we like to do that. But running your fingers through them, making sure that there's no creases or kinks in the wire creates the best effect. So for those of you that struggle with fluffing, just continue with it and it'll turn out for the best. So we're going to create, let's do that little daisy technique. So we're going to cut a bunch of this. We're going to try it with 2.5 inch. We've never done, I don't think we've done it with 2.5 inch. We've done it with 7/8 and 1.5 inch, but never 2.5. So I'm just going to cut pieces random lengths. You guys can see I'm not measuring anything out. Hey, Patricia. And Patricia is Alex.
In the wreath community.
So you guys, I don't know how you guys don't get sick of me. But everybody that's new here, let me know that you're new here as well. We're going to just dovetail these before working them in to make it a little bit easier on ourselves. I'm going to show you guys how to do that with multiple pieces. So since these are all different lengths, the best thing you can do is just line up one end. I like to do 3 to 4 at a time. This is a thinner ribbon, so we can get away with it. And then the other side isn't perfectly symmetrical, so then we're just going to line those up again. And then after this, stick around, you guys, because we still have to create a beautiful rose gold wreath. And we're going to use a brand new size of grapevine. We're debuting that here on Bowdabra. We're going to use a 12-inch grapevine. So I don't think any of you guys have seen those before. Hey, Julie from Georgia. Deborah's here. Deborah shared. Thank you, Deborah. Can a person win a second time? That's a question for Sandy. Sandy, can a person
Yes,
win
we
2
have had
times?
people. We have had people win 2 times.
There's your answer, you guys. So anybody can win. The luck of the draw. So we're going to take our mini Bowdabra. I think these are $11.99 at nickseasonaldecor.com. Lisa said I could watch you every day, Nick. Thank you, Lisa, for that. I appreciate it. A little length of wire. We're going to place that in our mini and tuck those wires underneath. Now what we're going to do is just take those pieces. I like to start with the biggest ones first, just pinching them and placing them into the mini Bowdabra. So just pinching them, gathering them, tucking them in. So the reason I like to start with the biggest ones first is so that we don't cover up all the tiny ones. But I think that would be a unique look as well. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to line them up like you just saw me do there. It still creates a really cool effect. And if you did do this with like green ribbon, like a 2.5-inch green underneath this, and then use like a solid ribbon, you can create flowers. So we're going to teach you guys that later in the year. And we will be live here in Bowdabra the last 2 Mondays through the year of each month. And Sandy will be live, or Joe, all the other Mondays. So we're going to tie this off now. But I'll show you guys how to make a poinsettia one. Let's shoot for, I say October, but that's like a couple weeks.
Like next week.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I think next Tuesday, right after our last Bowdabra for September.
Yeah.
So now we can fluff it out from New Brunswick, Canada, Chattanooga, Jersey. Welcome, everyone. Pull apart those tails. And this is all tails, you guys. There's no loops in this bow whatsoever. And how cute is that?
So cute. I love this style.
Isn't it fun? And you guys see me kind of crimping the ribbons too. They don't have to be perfectly flat and straightened out. So show some hearts if you guys like that as well. And let me know if you think you're going to make this, because this is one of the easiest. And this would work great as a hair bow. So for those of you that make hair bows, sell hair bows, need hair bows, I think this is an awesome technique for that. You can attach it to like one of those dollar store headbands. You can just glue it right on. So that is that bow technique. Now let's make our wreath. So we're going to start with our wreath bow, and it's going to be 7/8 inch. So you guys saw 1.5 inch, 2.5 inch, 4 inch, and now 7/8 inch. Cut a long enough piece that we can tie this to our grapevine. What length did you make them, Connie? So I made them all different lengths. The smallest one being probably like 6 inches and the biggest one probably being like 9-10 inches. So I promised you rose gold, and that is what you're getting. Look at that. Isn't that
this is
stunning?
stunning. I love this one.
So we're going to cut a length for our tails. And then what kind of bow should we do, Alex? I don't know. What kind of bow are you leaning towards?
What haven't we
A,
done?
a loopy bow with a button loop.
Let's do that. So we're going to let's do this because I think it's going to look really elegant. We're going to take this ribbon, place it in upside down, right? We're going to take it upside down, about 1/2 inch of an overhang. We always want to leave a little leeway in case we accidentally pull it out. When it comes time to fluff, it would be very upsetting if that happened. So leave yourself a little extra on one side. So this is not a huge wreath base. We're going to do loops about 3.5 inches, 4 inches. We're going to do 3 on each side. And I just am rotating my Bowdabra. I find it easiest, you guys, to just give it 1/2 a turn. Next loop. And they don't have to be perfectly even, but if you wanted to measure them out, you can just stretch them out like that and get them as close as you'd like. It doesn't have to be perfect. So this is the mini Bowdabra, you guys, and you're able to create full-size bows. So truthfully, before I even used the mini Bowdabra, we started carrying them at nickseasonaldecor.com, and the first time I ever used it was on a live here on Bowdabra, right, Alex? So
Yes.
I had no prior experience using it, and it's the exact same process. So for those of you that have the large Bowdabra, there's no difference between the large and the mini.
It still holds a lot of product too.
It does.
A lot of ribbon.
You guys can see
And
here
you can
we have
make
3
little
loops.
itty bitty bows too if you want.
Yeah,
Yes.
very fine detailed ones. 3 big loops, about 3.5, 4 inches. Then we came back in with 2 more. These are about 2-inch loops. And then we're going to finish this off. Everybody let me know what the final loop is called. We're going to only cut it about 2 inches or so. So drop a comment and let me know if you know what the final loop is called. Let's see if you guys know. Now we're going to take that wire, bring it to the middle again. Take the wire, pull it to the back, and tie from behind. Hey, Peggy from Stoughton, Mass. And now it's time for our grapevine. How cute is that small 12-inch grapevine?
It's so cute.
So you guys are really in for a treat. I see 112 of you guys. Thank you for joining. This is the first time we've debuted it. So we really recently started carrying these as of last week, and you guys are learning lots of exclusives tonight. So perfect size for a smaller door inside your home. Reeds don't have to be massive. I prefer for the inside of my house something smaller, something finer detailed. So we're going to just tie that bow right to the wreath. Yes, button loop, you guys. You got that right. Hey, Heather. I haven't seen you, Heather, in a really long time. I'm happy to see you. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Now what we're going to do is just pull those tails down. So we didn't fluff anything yet. That is what we're going to do now. It's easier to fluff after you have your bow in place. That way you're not having to refluff. So save yourselves time, you guys. Fluff it open. Hey, Pam. Pam's another awesome Wreath community member. Fluff it open. How pretty is that rose gold?
So pretty.
I love it. Yes, button loop, you guys. That is right. And now we're going to fill in with rose gold and silver. And you guys can spend all day long fluffing your bows. You guys know that by now. So we're going to start with a little silver. Actually, let's start with the rose gold, because I kind of want to accent that and cover it up a bit with some silver. So here's our rose gold sprays. We're going to just snip them off individually. We're going to start with one of them. It's a small wreath. And then we're going to poke them in. Add a little bit of hot glue and stick them right in. So the rose golds on these don't match perfectly, but I think we're going to be able to get away with it with the silver. There we go.
And these sprays also have a little bit of shimmer in them too.
Yeah, they do.
Just a little.
We'll place a loop up top or a spray. There we go. Now let's work in our silver. There we go. Now let's dip these in some hot glue and work them in as well.
So we have a winner, Nick.
We have our
It's
winner.
Connie Rucker, who's watching on YouTube tonight.
Congratulations, Connie. You are our lucky winner tonight. And I believe Sandy just said you were watching on YouTube. So you can send Bowdabra a message on YouTube, just letting them know which color you prefer, red, gold, or silver, and send them your mailing address as well, and they will have that shipped out to you.
Yes, let's all
Or you can
congratulate
PM
Connie,
us.
guys.
You can PM us on Facebook.
Okay, message on Facebook.
Take our tails, bring them down. You can also curl those up a bit. But wanted to keep it very simple. Not every wreath has to have greenery or flowers or anything super crazy. Sometimes something simple, and switch out the colors if you wanted. So that first bow that we made, and I'm going to show you guys that just in a second, but that's how cute the little wreath is. 2 sprays, you guys, some leftover ribbon, and a 12-inch grapevine. I mean, you can make this for less than $10, and you can make it as glitzy and glamorous and fancy schmancy as you would like. But I kind of like it
so cute
in its simplicity. But you can also do like different colors, right? So here's the first bow that we made. You can do the same thing with some navy blue. So many different colors and combinations, and whatever matches your home, your aesthetic, or for those of you in business, having different options as well. So we have enough time for one more simple bow. So we're going to use our mini again. Cut another length of wire. And I love that our table looks like funfetti right now,
I know.
doesn't it? It looks like the frosting you made for the cookies.
Yes.
So another thing too, you guys, for those of you that follow my family, baby Stevie's first birthday was the other day. No, what's today? Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yes.
So he turned 1 on the 21st of September, and Alex made really cool cookies for his birthday party. They turned out really, really cute and very tasty. So
I can't believe he's already won.
Me neither.
It's crazy. The year has flown by, you guys.
It really has. So VJ says, can I get that wire from your shop? Yes, you can. We do sell the Bowdabra wire at nickseasonaldecor.com as well. But I'm going to show you guys a candy corn one. And I think out of all of the bows, when we use this technique, which is just a bunch of tails, I think out of all of them, this would be the cutest hair bow, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah.
Very fun and different. So we're going to just take that wire, bring it to the front, pull it through, tighten it, and tie it from behind.
And I just love this technique for using scraps of ribbon that we all save and never can use.
Absolutely. And we all feel, I mean, I feel like just us crafters always have a purpose for something, or truthfully hate being wasteful, right? How many of you guys agree with me there? Let me know down below. How many of you guys hate being wasteful? And if you only have a foot or two, you're not going to be able to make a bow for a wreath, or, you know, for the most of the techniques that we teach. But using just a yard or two for this, mixing it up with other ribbons that match with it, you know, you can create full-size bows, fancy bows, and cool bows using your leftovers and your scraps. So especially this technique, it's one of my favorites. All right, finishing up dovetailing, we can fluff it out. And then we created some pretty cool bows tonight using a bunch of different widths. Fluff it out. And as you guys saw, I didn't measure anything, didn't sit there and made sure everything was even. And that's the outcome. How cute.
So cute with the candy corns.
So what do you guys think of that?
It's really cute, Nick.
Awesome. Yeah, so Pam hates wasting any craft supplies as well. So I want to thank you all so very much for joining us tonight. I'm Nick Kreticos of Nick's Seasonal Decor. Thank you, Sandy, for having us as a guest, and we will see you all next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Bye for now.
Good
Thank you,
night,
Nick.
everyone.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.